wants to tap into his natural brink killer like you are.
Yeah, no, Nick is a fighter. You know, I'm a fighter. We're gonna come and fight. You know, this isn't a wrestling match. This is not a jiu-jitsu competition. We're gonna step in there and try to beat the snot out of each other.
I remember now. In the Q&A, GSP said that on the ground, Nick is more sort of technical and persistent, and you create chaos, is what he said. Do you see it that way, and is that a stylistic choice on your part?
Yeah, I would say that. I've in my career, I've trained for lots and lots of wrestlers and guys who use top control to smother you and hold you down. So by creating chaos, like George St. Pierre said, I can create space and be able to maybe get away, get out from underneath the guy, and impose my game, you know, which is my stand-up. And not only that, I think that chipping away at somebody, even if, you know, if you're hitting somebody with elbows or you're hitting somebody with small shots that aren't necessarily gonna hurt them or gonna finish them, but it wears on somebody mentally. That, you know, no matter what position they put me in, you know, that they're still in a fight. They're still getting hit.
Do you feel like a bit of a spoiler in terms of the fact that GSP has publicly said he's rooting for Nick to win? He really wants to fight Nick. So do you feel that you could play a little bit of a spoiler role if you win on Saturday night, and that you would be the one facing him for the title?
Yeah, well, I mean, that'd be, you know, that kind of be messing up his plans, because I know he really wants to fight Nick. You know, they have some beef with, you know, from what Nick said after his last fight, and you know, that's understandable. But you know, my job is to beat Nick Diaz, and you know, the rest is kind of just you know, it's other people's opinions and feelings, I guess.
If you were to get past this, would you want to wait, sit out until November when George said he'll be able to return, or fight again? The past couple of years, I haven't been as busy as I would have liked, especially in 2011. I only fought one time. I was supposed to fight 3 times, had an injury, finally fought Dong Young Kim, was supposed to fight BJ and then George, and you know, that fight fell through. But it looks like two times in a year is kind of, you know, what's, you know, that's how it's going to be. And so waiting for another fight would be okay. I mean, I don't know. I would have to sit down with my coaches and my management and really think about that. How has it been having your new son, and has that added motivation? Has that retracted?
Yeah, no, it's a huge motivation. You know, when my son was born, it gave me a completely different outlook on my career. You know, I had been burnt out, and I, you know, wasn't so sure that, you know, that I was, you know, still loved the sport, and you know, I just had a whole new perspective. You know, once I had my son, and you know, I realized the opportunities that I have. You know, the fact that you know, I get paid, you know, good money to train and to fight for a living, and you know, even though I spent a lot of time training, I still have probably more time than if I was working a normal job to spend with my family.
How do you feel about the fact that you're fighting for an interim title as opposed to the straight-up title? And, you know, does that weigh on you at all, or do you feel like you will legitimately be the champ if you win Saturday?
I feel like George St. Pierre is the champion. He's been such a dominant force in the welterweight division that, you know, until somebody beats him, you know, he's the champion. It's a huge fight. Regardless of all that, it's the biggest fight of my life, toughest opponent I've ever faced, you know, biggest stage that I've ever fought on, and you know, that's really what's important to me.
Is that the most exciting thing for you, that you're a fighter's fighter, and standing across the cage from you, you're going to have another fighter's fighter?
Absolutely. Nick Diaz is a guy that I've been excited to be matched up against for a really long time. You know, I like to entertain the fans. I love and I take pride in the fact that people like to watch me fight, because I bring exciting fights, and you know, that's what this fight is. You know, that this has you know, fight of the night, possibly fight of the year written all over it.
When you were told you were going to fight GSP, you had an emotional response, but that was probably more because it was for the title, and not so much because you were fighting GSP. I don't know if I'm wrong about that, so I want you to answer that. And then also tell me what the response is when you're told you're fighting Nick Diaz, that response.
No, you know, not only when I got the shot at GSP, was I fighting for the title. You know, George St. Pierre he's the biggest star and one of the best fighters that's ever graced the sport. So, you know, I was getting a chance to fight for the title, but I was also fighting one of the the best fighters and the biggest names that's ever that's ever been in the sport. So as far as when I got told that I was fighting Nick Diaz, I kind of just had to shake my head and laugh, man, because after all the craziness that's gone on, one more change in opponent, I was like, oh my God, are you serious? But after that, it was just excited. I was very excited, and I realized I had to change up my training and change up the game plan.
Do you feel that you're the typical kind of a fighter to come out of Jackson's camp?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a typical type of fighter. The thing about Jackson's camp is it's kind of a conglomerate of guys from all over the world, like literally. You have guys from Russia, from Japan, from Turkey, from all over the United States. So there's not one typical type of fighter out of Jackson's. So I mean that's it's kind of hard to say. I win fights. It's been said that Jackson's fighters are boring fighters, and I think that we've proved over the last 2 years with how many finishes that's just not the case. But I guess in the sense that I come well prepared and I come ready to fight, I guess I am a typical Jackson's fighter.
Who in your camp is the best Nick Diaz impersonator to train with, not like making fun of?
I don't know. There's some guys. You probably there's some up and comers that are really good, but you guys probably wouldn't recognize the name if I told you.
You expecting things to heat up come the way in? I know you and Nick have both been chill and cordial here for the most part, but have you had any interaction with Nick previous to?
Nope. I never even met the guy. I don't even think I've ever seen him in person. I mean, I know that's kind of his thing. He likes to get in guys' face, and that's fine. That's not going to rattle me any.
Are you going to take the bait if things do get a little bit of up close and personal come the post fight or the press conference?
I don't know. I guess you just have to see.
Standing here, you definitely seem taller, kind of bigger than Nick. How do you see your size matchup, and do you see that you've got advantages in that situation?
We have a pretty similar body type. He's he as far as athleticism, he's this endurance athlete. He does all this distance running and swimming and biking. I think I'm more powerful, more explosive. Like I said, I've never seen the guy in person, so I guess when we face off, I'll see the guy's stature. But
it's kind of a rarity for you to have a guy like that. A lot of times you're having this physically imposing guy that, like you said, you're working from the bottom and whatnot.
Yeah, we're Nick and myself. We are kind of the odd guys out of the division. There's a lot of shorter, stockier, more muscled up guys. But I think that different body types have different strategies, and I don't think that there's one perfect body type for any division or for a fighter. Period.
You a gambler?
I like to play blackjack a little bit, but no, I wouldn't say I'm a gambler. No.
Well, we're in Vegas. I'm just curious if you do that to loosen up at all.
No, I try to stay out of the casino, man. The cigarette smoke kills me.
Yeah.
What about the 6-1 bet on John Jones being Rashad?
I mean, John Jones. I think John Jones is going to beat Rashad, so I mean, it's a good bet.
All right, thanks, gang.